This is Ling Chi, brush painting for beginners. And today we're going to do a very simple landscape. Landscape is not covered in the teaching material as much as the floral and birds and animals. And one thing very important I want to show you today, the right paper is essential. A lot of times people are neglecting. So now I have two pieces of paper here. One on the left hand side is a raw paper. What does it mean is that the water will go down directly to show the variation by one stroke. This is the preferred landscape paper, which is a pea paper that you have an ability to spread the water. So the raw paper, say if I'm using so you can see the ink and the color, it goes down directly. So it does not, you don't have any ability to spread. If we use the pea paper here, then you can see that it have a much softer look. Doesn't have that hard edges. And I can even add on the top of it. So it will blend well from dark to light. If I turn it over, you can see that it doesn't see through right away. So paper is essential. Okay, now let's talk about today's subject. We're going to do this simple landscape. I'm going to use pea paper, like what I just said. The brushes is very simple for this particular subject. Actually, I have one of our full moon brush. You can also substitute with mountain horse. I want it long and I want it dry. I don't want to hold a lot of moisture. And then I have a full lotus brush. You can use super flow or large flow for the shade. And then a lot of beginners, you might be able just to use this brush without a small happy dot for the line work. But for beginners, sometimes it's harder to control the moisture. So you can use happy dot for the smaller line. like here and like the top. And then I will show you that I have this one without major washes. So just mountains and reflection of the mountains. That I use the Full Lotus or Superflow. And then this other lines that I use the Full Moon, or you can use Mountain Horse. And I will show you another piece of work. I did some overall washing, which I show you both. And this one, you can see that I have some washes on the top and on the bottom. So, so the subject, I'm going to have to do it first. And after it's dry, and then you do the washes. So I'm going to do the subject, which in this way is a tree, the reflection, and then the boat, and then the reflection. Color is very simple color. So I'm going to use today the companion set. If you have any other color, just a ochre blue and indigo blue and ink. So nothing fancy as far as no major color. So you can use any of the color you are used to. So first I'm using the Full Moon. Like I said, you can also use Mountain Horse. So I want to make sure that my brush's body is dry. So I'm using a paper towel, you can see. I'm putting it here. Make sure that this top is dry. So the tip need to be wet. So I first use the ochre and a little brown to soften it. So one of the question came up was that for Chinese brush painting, and how do you do a draft for line work, which I will explain that in this particular how I did it. And then a lot of times people use charcoal, or you can use another piece of paper underneath, because the paper is so thin. So if I say this is my draft, I do it on another piece of paper. If I put this over it, and I can paint it over. Especially in this paper, it doesn't go through. So that's how I do my landscape drafting. And then there is another way I'm doing it today, which is I will use a lighter color as my draft. So I'm doing this dry tree here. So this is my horizon. And I'm going to do my boat. So like these small lines, and for beginners, this might be too hard. You use happy dot, and then I can do it just with this. And then I have a dish, which is my best bottle ink. So then I'm going to start doing the accent. Okay. Then I'm using a pretty dry brush to trace my, on the back of paper, I fold it over, trace my okay, so when I fold it over, what I do is then I make sure that if it didn't come through completely, then I will add additional ink as the reflection. So then I will leave it dry. So I have done one previously to do the washes for you now. So I have done this earlier, so it's completely dry now. Okay. And then I use my Full Lotus brush, so it's pretty wet. And then I will use some ink, blues, and then a little bit ink to soften the blue. So the ink is only on the tip. So then this is my horizon. So then I start So that's the magic of this paper, because then you can soften the edges. So then I fold the paper like I did before. So that I will have mountain reflection. So then I kind of darken a little bit. So you can leave this as it is alone. This is what it would look when it's dry, like the original. But I want to soften it up. I can use a wash brush. So this is a 3-inch wash brush. So I will have the edge with a little blue. So I'm going to start washing. So I'm using the water to soften all the edges. So because the tree was originally already dry, so you can go over it. So that softens everything up. So then I will load more blue in here. And this time, the color, I'm going to start from the bottom. So, move it up. So I don't go all the way up to where the reflection was. So I leave it blank and with a clear brush to soften it up. So one without the washing on the top, one with the washing on the